Every 40 seconds in the United States, someone suffers a stroke. That means, by the time you finish this video, dozens of people will have had their lives changed forever. But here is the truth most people don't realize. Strokes almost never come without warning. Your body whispers, sometimes even shouts, long before the real damage strikes. The challenge is whether we recognize those whispers in time. So let me ask you, if you could learn the signals that may save your life, or the life of someone you love, wouldn't you want to know them? Instead of being caught by surprise in the middle of an emergency, you could act earlier when every minute truly counts. In this video, I will walk you through 8 of the most important warning signs that often appear before a stroke. These are not random aches and pains, but specific red flags that doctors and survivors consistently report. I'll also share 9 proven ways, supported by real science, to cut down your risk, sometimes by nearly half. Because prevention is not only possible, it is powerful. Think about it this way. Instead of waiting until it is too late and living with the permanent effects of a stroke, you can take small, simple steps today. Steps to protect your brain, your independence, and your family's peace of mind. Stay with me. Because what you are about to learn could truly be the difference between a crisis and a second chance. Before we dive into the early warning signs, it is important to understand what a stroke actually is. A stroke happens when blood flow to the brain is interrupted. Without blood, brain cells lose oxygen and begin to die within minutes. That's why doctors often say, time is brain. The faster you act, the more of your brain you can save. Now, there are 2 main types of stroke. The most common is called ischemic stroke. This occurs when a blood vessel in the brain gets blocked by a clot or by fatty deposits. In fact, about 80 to 85% of all strokes are this type. The second, less common but often more deadly, is hemorrhagic stroke. This happens when a blood vessel in the brain bursts, causing bleeding inside the brain. It accounts for about 15% of strokes. Why should you care about the difference? Because the risk factors and warning signs often overlap, and recognizing them early gives you the chance to act before permanent damage is done. Instead of waiting for paralysis or loss of speech, you can take action when the first unusual signals appear. Think of it like a smoke alarm. You don't wait until the fire has burned down your house to call for help. You respond to the alarm. In the same way, your body has alarms for stroke. High blood pressure, unusual headaches, sudden changes in balance or vision. These are not inconveniences to ignore. They are alarms telling you to act. So as we move forward, remember this. Strokes may seem sudden, but they are often years in the making. By learning to recognize the signals, you can transform fear into prevention, and prevention into peace of mind. The first and most powerful warning sign is high blood pressure. Doctors often call it the silent killer, because you don't feel it the way you feel a fever or a broken bone. Yet it quietly damages your blood vessels, day after day. High blood pressure weakens artery walls, making them more likely to burst in a hemorrhagic stroke. It also accelerates the buildup of fatty deposits, which can block blood flow and cause an ischemic stroke. Many patients tell me, "But doctor, I feel fine. This must be my normal." The truth is, feeling fine doesn't mean your blood vessels are safe. Instead of waiting for symptoms, you need to measure and monitor. Research shows that just 5 extra grams of salt per day, a teaspoon, can raise your risk of stroke by more than 20%. Imagine that. Such a small thing making such a huge difference. So if your blood pressure runs high, don't dismiss it. Treat it as your body's first alarm bell. It's not just numbers on a cuff, it's your brain asking for protection. The second warning sign is a headache that feels different from anything you've had before. Most of us have experienced tension headaches, or even migraines, but a stroke-related headache has its own signature. It may come on suddenly, with a sharp, explosive pain. Or it may build in intensity in a way that feels unusual for you. Some people describe it as the worst headache of my life. Others notice that it comes with blurred vision or a momentary blackout. Here's the key. It doesn't have to be unbearable to be dangerous. What matters is that it feels out of the ordinary for you. Instead of brushing it off with pain medication and waiting for it to pass, see it as a red flag. Studies show that sudden, atypical headaches are often linked to changes in blood flow in the brain, either a blockage or bleeding. So ask yourself, is this headache different? If the answer is yes, don't ignore it. It could be your brain's urgent call for help. The third warning sign is numbness or weakness on just one side of the body. Have you ever felt a sudden heaviness in an arm or leg, almost as if it belonged to someone else? That can be the earliest sign of a stroke. What makes it unique is that it usually affects only one side, the right arm, the left leg, or even just the face on one side. Why does this happen? Because the brain is wired in reverse. A blockage or bleed on the left side of the brain controls the right side of your body, and vice versa. So when circulation is cut off, you feel weakness, tingling, or complete loss of movement on the opposite side. Instead of waiting to see if the feeling improves, treat it as an emergency. Even if the numbness fades after a few minutes, it could be a transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke that often precedes a major one. Remember, weakness on one side is not normal aging. It's a warning. The fourth warning sign is trouble with speech or understanding language. Imagine you are having a normal conversation, and suddenly the words coming out of your mouth don't sound right. You may know what you want to say, but the sentences come out slurred, jumbled, or incomplete. Or perhaps you're on the other side. You're listening to someone speak, and you can't make sense of their words, even though you hear them clearly. This is not simple forgetfulness or a senior moment. It is a direct sign that blood flow to the language center of your brain has been interrupted. Instead of thinking, "I'll be fine in a few minutes," recognize it for what it is. An emergency. Doctors call this condition aphasia, and it can appear suddenly. The difference between acting right away and waiting could mean recovering your speech or losing it forever. So if you or someone near you struggles to form or understand words, don't hesitate. Call for help immediately. The fifth warning sign is a sudden loss of balance or coordination. Picture someone who has never had a drink, suddenly walking as if they were intoxicated. They stumble, sway, or can't keep a steady pace. Loved ones often describe it by saying, "He looked drunk, but I knew he hadn't touched alcohol." That image stays with me because it perfectly captures how a stroke can strike the part of the brain that controls balance. This is not the same as feeling a little dizzy after standing up too fast. It is a clear disruption in your ability to walk normally, to reach for something without dropping it, or to keep yourself steady. Instead of assuming it's fatigue or clumsiness, Recognize that your brain may not be getting the blood supply it needs. Losing balance suddenly is your body's cry for attention. Instead of ignoring it and hoping it passes, treat it like a fire alarm. Quick action can save your independence and even your life. The sixth warning sign is unusual fatigue, a kind of tiredness that doesn't match your daily activity. We all know what it feels like to be worn out after gardening, walking, or playing with the grandchildren. But this is different. Stroke survivors often recall that, in the days or hours before their stroke, they felt overwhelmingly exhausted, as if their body had lost its energy without explanation. Why does this happen? When blood flow to parts of the brain is reduced, even briefly, your body struggles to maintain normal function. The result is weakness, lethargy, and a sense that something just isn't right. Instead of saying, "I must just be getting older," pay attention. Fatigue that arrives suddenly or feels far beyond the ordinary may be your brain signaling distress. Rather than brushing it off as nothing, consider the why. Normal tiredness recovers with rest. Stroke-related fatigue does not. That difference could be the key between catching a warning in time or missing it entirely. The seventh warning sign is trouble with motor skills, those everyday movements we usually take for granted. Think about simple actions like buttoning a shirt, typing on a keyboard, or washing the dishes. When a stroke is developing, even these small tasks can suddenly feel awkward or clumsy. Your hand may not grip the way it used to, or your fingers may not move with the same coordination. This is not the same as the gradual stiffness of arthritis or the normal slowing that comes with age. Instead of steady, predictable change, this difficulty appears suddenly. You may notice that one side feels weaker, or movements no longer match what your brain is telling your hand to do. Rather than blaming it on fatigue or aging, pause and ask, why now? And why so suddenly? A loss of coordination, even if mild, can be the brain's way of warning you that blood flow is disrupted. Acting fast could mean restoring those movements before they are lost for good. The eighth warning sign is sudden changes in vision. Imagine reading the morning newspaper and realizing the words are blurred, doubled, or even disappearing from one side of the page. Some people describe it as a curtain falling across part of their vision. Others see flashing lights or sudden blind spots. Why does this happen? The brain's visual centers rely on a steady blood supply. When a stroke interrupts that supply, even briefly, the eyes themselves may be fine, but the brain can no longer process the images clearly. Instead of thinking, "Maybe I just need new glasses," recognize that vision changes appearing out of nowhere are not about aging eyes. They are about brain health. The difference matters. Normal eye strain improves with rest or a new prescription. Stroke-related vision loss does not, and if ignored, it may become permanent. So if you suddenly see double, lose clarity, or notice part of your sight vanish, treat it as a medical emergency. Your brain is asking for help. Tip 1. Reduce salt and sodium. One of the most powerful ways to lower your stroke risk is to cut back on salt. Research shows that adding just 1 extra teaspoon of salt a day can raise your stroke risk by more than 20%. That's not a small change. It's a dangerous shift. Instead of reaching for processed foods loaded with sodium, choose fresh meals and check nutrition labels. The World Health Organization recommends no more than 5 grams of salt a day, about half of what the average American eats. By making this single adjustment, you protect your blood vessels, your heart, and most importantly, your brain. Tip 2. Control blood sugar. High blood sugar quietly injures blood vessels over time. That damage creates the perfect ground for cholesterol deposits and blockages that lead to stroke. If you live with diabetes or even pre-diabetes, keeping sugar under control is critical. Instead of waiting for complications, take action now. Monitor your glucose, follow medical guidance, and choose foods that keep your levels steady. Protecting your blood sugar today protects your brain tomorrow. Tip 3. Don't smoke. Smoking is a direct strike against your blood vessels. Every puff tightens arteries, raises blood pressure, and increases clot formation. Some people believe switching to cigars, roll-ups, or even occasional smoking is safer. It isn't. Instead of cutting back slowly, the most effective choice is to stop altogether. When you quit, your body begins to repair itself almost immediately. And within a few years, your risk of stroke falls dramatically. Quitting smoking is not just about lungs, it is about saving your brain. Tip 4. Manage cholesterol. Cholesterol is not all bad. You need it to build cells and produce hormones. But too much of the wrong kind, LDL cholesterol, clogs arteries and narrows blood flow to the brain. Instead of believing cholesterol doesn't matter, learn the balance. LDL should be low, HDL should be high, and triglycerides should stay under control. For someone with no risk factors, an LDL of 130 might be fine. But if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or you smoke, your safe range is far lower. Managing cholesterol is personal, but the goal is the same: open arteries and steady circulation. Tip 5. Exercise regularly. Your body was designed to move, and your brain thrives when blood circulates freely. Just 150 minutes of physical activity a week, like walking briskly for 30 minutes, 5 days out of 7, can reduce your stroke risk dramatically. Instead of thinking you need a gym membership, focus on movement you enjoy. Gardening, dancing, swimming, or walking with a neighbor all count. Exercise doesn't just make muscles stronger, it keeps blood vessels flexible, lowers pressure, and improves your mood. Every step you take is a step away from stroke. Tip 6. Maintain a healthy weight. Carrying excess weight does more than slow you down. Fat tissue is active, releasing substances that raise inflammation throughout the body. That inflammation damages blood vessels and increases stroke risk. Instead of chasing fad diets, aim for steady, sustainable habits. Smaller portions, more vegetables, fewer processed foods. Even a modest weight loss of 5 to 10% can bring real improvements in blood pressure and cholesterol. Losing weight is not about appearance. It's about protecting your independence and your future. Tip 7. Get quality sleep. Sleep is not a luxury. It is medicine for your brain. Poor sleep, especially conditions like obstructive sleep apnea, raises both blood sugar and blood pressure. If your spouse notices loud snoring, or you wake up gasping for air, don't ignore it. Instead of assuming it's harmless, get tested. Treating sleep apnea or improving your sleep routine can sharply lower stroke risk. Better sleep is not only about rest, it's about restoring your brain's health every night. Tip 8. Monitor blood pressure at home. Some people only see high blood pressure when they visit a doctor, what we call white coat hypertension. Others have normal numbers in the office, but high readings at home, a condition called masked hypertension. Instead of relying on one reading, keep track at different times of day and write it down. A healthy goal is about 120/80, though your doctor may tailor it. By knowing your true numbers, you can take action before damage sets in. Monitoring is not about fear, it's about taking control. Tip 9. Check for heart rhythm problems. Not all strokes begin in the brain. Many start in the heart, with a rhythm problem called atrial fibrillation. When the heart beats irregularly, blood can pool and form clots, which then travel to the brain. Instead of ignoring palpitations, fluttering, or skipped beats, get evaluated. A simple test like an ECG or even a 24-hour monitor can uncover the problem. With the right treatment, you can prevent clots from forming and protect your brain from sudden stroke. Heart health and brain health are forever linked. We've walked through 8 powerful warning signs and 9 practical steps to prevent stroke. Now, let me bring it back to you. A stroke does not come out of nowhere. Your body almost always gives signals. Through blood pressure, through fatigue, through sudden changes in balance or vision. The question is, will you listen? Think of what is at stake. Instead of facing years of recovery or losing your independence in an instant, you can act early. You can lower your blood pressure, protect your arteries, and safeguard the very brain that holds your memories, your voice, and your ability to live freely. Prevention is not just medicine, it is freedom. If you take away one message today, let it be this. You have more control than you realize. Every choice, less salt, better sleep, more movement, is a choice to protect your mind and your future. So here is my request. If this message has helped you, share it. Every like, every subscription, every share brings this life-saving knowledge to someone else who may not know the signs. You could be the reason a friend, a neighbor, or even a stranger avoids the devastating effects of stroke. And stay with me, because in my next video, I'll show you the foods that truly support brain and heart health. Knowing what to eat is just as important as knowing what to avoid. Until then, take care of yourself. And remember, prevention starts today, not tomorrow.